And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Facebook Live production of the Ask the Doctor Because Your Health is Important radio segment. We are here live at the offices of Dr. M.J. Collier, and we are so grateful that you have decided to join us this evening and spend your time with us. We know you have options, we know you have things to do, but this is so important. Hey, Miss Keisha Brown, thank you so much for tuning in. And I just want everybody to know tonight is going to be something very, very special. Okay, one, we have our executive producer and a co-host tonight, Mr. Antonio. He's going to be talking with Tonio with you tonight. What Antonio does, he answers the calls, screens the calls, puts your question up, and make this a very, very smooth production. So we've been working together now since we resumed doing our Facebook Live, and let me tell you, he has really upgraded the production. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. It's a little bit different from being behind the scenes now in front of the camera, so it's cool. I like it.
Well, we like having you, and I want everybody to see. Not only are you very good at what you do, he's a handsome fella too, ladies. So get to know him better, and we're so glad you tuned in. And thank you so much. Everybody's already posting. We got Rhonda Postlewaite. Hello, Rhonda. How are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody, tell me where you're from. There you go. Adrian Chase from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Zon Jacobs. Hey, y'all. How you doing, everybody? And so remember, the way that this works, I'm going to introduce the topic, but this is your show. You can ask a question about any medical topic that you are interested in, and we'll hopefully be able to answer that question for you. But we're going to start off with just our traditional coronavirus update. Benita, thank you for joining us. Ursula Clark Holmes, thank you for being here. Again, from Baton Rouge. Rhonda from Memphis, Tennessee. Tashara from Douglasville. Hey, darling, thank you so much. Local girl. Lanishan Watson. Hello to both of you guys. Houston, Texas. Okay, she tuned in and saw that there's two of us in here, Antonio. So very good. So listen, let me bring you up to speed on what's going on with the coronavirus and the vaccines. You have all heard that on Friday, the FDA recommended, or it was recommended to the FDA that they allow booster shots, and the boosters that are available now are with the Pfizer vaccine. The two that are pending are with the, well, no, I'm sorry. All of the boosters are available now. You can get Pfizer, you can get Moderna, you can get Johnson & Johnson. That is what has changed. The thing that really amazed me and that I did not expect to happen so quickly was that they are now endorsing a mix and match philosophy. So mix and match meaning if you started off with a Johnson & Johnson, if you started off with a Pfizer, if you started off with a Moderna, you can get a booster with either of the other vaccines. This is what's important, though, and the thing that you need to understand and remember, that getting a booster with a Moderna, no matter what your first vaccine was, gives you a higher antibody level and a higher protection than if you get a second dose of the Johnson & Johnson or if you get a third dose of the Pfizer. Now, if you've gotten 2 doses of the Moderna and you get a third dose with the Pfizer, you will get increased antibody levels, but not as high as you would if you got a third dose of the Moderna. So this is reiterating, once again, that the Moderna vaccine is the most potent vaccine. It is the one that you probably would benefit most from getting. If you haven't already made your vaccine decision and you decide to get one, the recommendation that I make is that you get the Moderna. Second choice is whatever is available. And so if it's Moderna versus not getting one, then get whatever they're sticking in your arm. So that can be the Pfizer, that can be the Johnson & Johnson. One caveat, women of childbearing age, the Johnson & Johnson has been associated with these very, very unique blood clots. So I don't recommend that a woman younger than 50 get the Johnson & Johnson, which benefit of the Johnson & Johnson was it was one and done. You got one shot and you were considered protected. Now, since the last time we made a broadcast, there have been some changes. One, places you can go, things you can do, flights you can take, having or being confirmed as fully immunized. That means 2 weeks after your second dose of the Pfizer vaccine or the Moderna vaccine, or 2 weeks after your single dose of the Johnson & Johnson, you're considered fully vaccinated. And then your options are totally opened up. You can travel, you can go places, you can go to various restaurants, you can go and enter various venues like sports venues, etc. You are totally clear to do pretty much whatever you like to do. And so that is where we are now. We're basically going to have two sets of people in the United States, people that have been vaccinated and have immune status, and people that have not been vaccinated who are going to have their activities restricted, sometimes being required to take COVID vaccine tests as often as once a week, in some businesses. That is a lot of jamming that swab up your nose. It's uncomfortable, it's unpleasant, and not a viable option, in my opinion, when you could get the shot and be fully immunized. The shots are safe. Nobody's dying from getting the shots, but everybody's dying from not getting the shots. So very important that you get your vaccine in and do that. I understand that there are questions and concerns about it. If you have a question or concern about vaccine, don't hesitate to bring that to my attention during this broadcast, because that's what we're here for. Your health is important, and I am your medical ready reference. We're here to answer your healthcare questions. Now, another thing that happened on Tuesday of this week, the FDA panel endorsed Pfizer's vaccine for children between the ages of 5 and 11. Children between the ages of 5 and 11. The vaccine was shown to be over 90% efficacious, which means it works over 90% of the time. They have to get that dose in the children's arm. The dose for children of that age group is going to be 1/3 the strength of the dose that's available for children 12 to 15 or 15 and above. So it's already been approved for ages 15 and above without restriction. It has full FDA approval. For ages 12 to 15, it has emergency use authorization. And then now they're seeking emergency use authorization for ages 5 to 11. So this is basically your middle school age children, and these are the ones that are most acceptable, and where they had a death rate that was unacceptable. That the death of a single child is not acceptable, but when you have hundreds of children that are dying from this coronavirus because it was originally thought that, well, children can't get it, or when they do get it, it's basically just a bad cold, and they're not going to have any more problems with it. And they found out that is not indeed the case. The Delta variant is serious. It does not play. And we are having some problems with children's deaths. And so it's going to be important to get the children vaccinated. The plan that the White House has, however, is that these vaccines be made available through the pediatrician's office. The problem is the Pfizer vaccine requires an extraordinarily efficient cooling process. So you have to have these refrigerators that can go down to 100 minus 100 degrees. And nobody has that in their office. And if they do, they don't have one large enough that can accommodate any size vaccine stash. So one, they're planning on shipping smaller amounts because they were shipping them in phenomenal doses that you really would have to have a refrigerator the size of a wall to accommodate. And two, you have to have the space to have that. Most doctors' offices don't have that kind of extra space for something like that. So this process is going to have to be rethought out. Doctors' offices are just not going to be the best place. Let me take a sip of water here. Thank you very much. Doctors' offices are just not going to be the best place to have that happen. They have the infrastructure for providing immunizations. They do that quite well and very efficiently. But what they don't have is the refrigeration necessary to keep that Pfizer vaccine stable. And so now they have it in most pharmacies. It's readily available. You don't really require an appointment. And so I think that they think that because parents and children are familiar with their doctors, they would feel more comfortable getting it. And they would, without question. I'm sure they would feel more comfortable in the pediatrician's office. The problem is most pediatricians won't be able to accommodate that. But a few weeks, the Moderna will be available. And then the Moderna, which is going to be half strength versus a third strength, it's the same dose that they put forth for the Moderna booster. They say it's so potent, so strong, you don't need a full dose as your third shot. You can take a half a dose, but that half strength dose is what they're proposing for children's vaccinations. And once that is approved, it does not require the same type of restricted refrigeration that the Pfizer vaccine does. And so it'll be much easier to disseminate amongst pediatricians' offices, and then we'll be able to see that. So they're hoping that the vaccines will be available first week in November, and that we can get children fully vaccinated before they return back to school after the Christmas holidays. So that's going to change the entire outlook for this winter, because if we start having children that have the flu and the coronavirus, this double pandemic is really going to create some problems with public health. So get your vaccination. If you have not gotten it, get your vaccine. It's one of the things that when Colonel Colin Powell passed away last week, and people were saying, well, he was fully vaccinated and he died. Well, he was fully vaccinated. He was in his 80s. He also had cancer and he also had leukemia. So those things put him at high risk as far as that was concerned. The best story that should have come from that is that if the people around him had been vaccinated and he had not been exposed to the coronavirus, he would still be with us today. Not that his vaccine fails. His vaccine didn't fail. His body failed long before, and he probably would not have lasted as long as he did if he had not been vaccinated. So once again, the vaccines are available. They are safe. They are free. Key point. The vaccines don't cost you anything and should not cost you anything. You can get them anywhere, regardless of your insurance status. You can have insurance. You can be totally uninsured. You get the same vaccine, the same courtesies extended to you. You're not put in a special line for the people that don't have insurance. No. You don't go to a special place for the people that don't have insurance. No. You go to the same place that everybody else goes, and it doesn't cost you anything. So don't hesitate. Don't let finances be a barrier to you maintaining a good health status. And remember that no matter where you go, the vaccine should be provided at no cost. Okay, let's open up the lines, Antonio, and get some people cranking with their questions. I know they're tired. They listen to me. Okay, let's talk with Antonio and see what we got going on.
Yes. Now, before we get into the questions, Doc, I do want to remind people, I did put in the description that we now have a Facebook group. So I see you guys' questions. I try to get to everybody or as many questions as possible. But that Facebook group is going to be really, really good to ask your questions and to share wins that you guys are having with the LipoDrop products and stuff like that. So make sure that you click the link in the description. I have it linked on there. I'll be one of their community managers over there to make sure, like, if we don't get to your question tonight, that we'll be able to get to your question on the next one. Okay. All right. So let's get into these questions. Let's see here.
And this broadcast is brought to you by LipoDrops. You can go to www.lipodrops.com to get your information on how to lose weight, get your sexy back, and lose that muffin top with LipoDrops. So Darlene says, I'm currently taking the LipoDrops African Mango along with the 3 supplements. Doctor's D, that's our vitamin D preparation, D3 at 5,000 international units per caplet, Lipo Omega, and Lipobiotic. And about 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. And I was given radioactive iodine by my doctor. Well, I just got my blood bank work done, and now the thyroid condition is coming back. Will the LipoDrops, etc., still help me lose weight? Yes, they will, but you need to get that thyroid condition under control. If you had radioactive iodine, that really wipes out all thyroid function. So you should never not be on thyroid. You're going to be on thyroid, and I recommend a T3 preparation. Thyroid comes in T4, which is inactive thyroid, which has to be converted to T3. And some people's bodies do that very effectively and efficiently. Others do not. And so if you can cut out the middleman by getting a product that has both T4 and T3, then you'll get all the T3 that you need. And there are some actual purely T3 products out there. One of the name brands you may be familiar with is Armor. There's also one called NatureThroid. NatureThroid was not available on the market. Their patent has been repurchased and it is now readily available. You can get it. And there's one called N-Thyroid. The most #1 prescribed thyroid product in the country is Synthroid. This is a synthetic thyroid hormone that is not the best. It is T4 and it has to be converted to T3. It is not the best option. It is the most commonly prescribed. So do your research, respectively ask your doctor. Say you don't want the Synthroid. You like to have a mixed formulation of T3 and T4, preferably something like NatureThroid or Synthroid. I mean, not Synthroid, NatureThroid or N-Thyroid to do so. Those are better products, and most people respond to them much better. And that will keep your metabolism high, keep your weight down, keep your brain from being foggy. And oftentimes when a woman has low thyroid, she loses her hair. Hair loss, alopecia is the full name for that, is thyroid disease until proven otherwise. So we want to make sure that you're maintaining good, healthy thyroid levels. But the thyroid itself will maintain your weight loss. And then the lipo products, of course, will help you lose the muffin top with the LipoDrop. So all those products that you own, excellent for the weight loss. The African Mango has that African Mango in along with the traditional LipoDrops original formula. That combination helps decrease your appetite and help your body metabolize foods and not store foods as fat. So a great combination. The African Mango, it tastes well as too. I really like the taste of the African Mango. So it's a very, very popular product. Thank you, Darlene. Great question. We appreciate that. Sarah Davis says, I have a question. I tested positive for COVID and recovered plus both vaccine. I had the Moderna. Do I need to get the booster? No, you do not. You are actually a super soldier. And listen to me carefully, Facebook Live listeners. If you have had the coronavirus, recuperated from the coronavirus, and have a natural immune response, which means you have natural immunity, and you add on top of that any of the vaccines, but definitely with the Moderna vaccine, if you get 2 shots of Moderna, you are at the highest immune status that you can be at. You would get no additional benefit from getting a booster. So not necessary to get the booster. The best status that you can be in during this pandemic is having had the disease, recuperated from the disease, and having had the vaccine ×2 or 1 with the Johnson & Johnson. So very important. Sarah, you are in great shape with what you have. No downside to getting the booster if you want to get it, but you 100% do not have to get it because you're at optimal immune status now. So how good is good? If you're at 100% and you get a booster, you'll be at 110%. But, you'll have all the protection that you need. If you had any problems with either of the first 2 shots of Moderna, fatigue, arm soreness, or anything that compromised you in any way, then I wouldn't take the booster because you already have gotten through the process now and you are at optimal immune health. So great question, Sarah. I'm glad you asked that question. Okay, Kimberly Khan says, I received the Moderna vaccine on Friday. On Sunday, I discovered a lump under my arm. The pain is getting worse. Is this normal? It's not normal, but it is a response that happens because you get inflammation of the lymph nodes. And that is one of the reasons they tell women do not get a mammogram after you've gotten the vaccine for at least 3 to 4 weeks, because you want that inflammation to calm down, because it causes swelling of the lymph nodes, which can give you a false positive mammogram. So take an anti-inflammatory such as Motrin, Advil, or Aleve. I wish you had listened to me a few weeks ago when I told people before you get the shot, start taking the anti-inflammatory Motrin, Advil, or Aleve, along with a non-sedating antihistamine such as Allegra, Zylol, Zyrtec, or Claritin. You start the day before you get the vaccine. You continue it for the next 2 to 3 days. You will not have this problem. The problem is inflammation in the lymphatic system. And if you take an anti-inflammatory, your response as a side effect will be muted, but your immune response will not. There was a question initially, would a potent medication like Motrin stop the vaccine from working for you? Would it mute your immune response? And then they found out, no, that doesn't happen. And you cannot substitute with Tylenol. Tylenol is a pain medication. It helps with pain. It is not, I repeat, it is not an anti-inflammatory. And the problem with all of the side effects of the vaccines is inflammation. So you want to use an anti-inflammatory to keep that under control. Great question, Kimberly. We appreciate you. Tam, Scorpio's finest West. Thank you, Tam, for coming back. We sure appreciate you, girl. Happy birthday to you. Wow. Did my invitation to the party get lost in the mail? Because I was looking forward to the really, really big celebration. Today is your day, and we're so glad that you are here and God made you. You're a winner when you are born, because there are millions and millions of sperms and only one egg. One sperm gets to fertilize the egg and create a unique you. So, Tam, you are here. You are you. You are a winner already. Continue to be the winner that you are. And happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Tam. Happy birthday to Tam. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we're always glad to have you here. You are a regular, and we really appreciate you. All right, next question. Zon Jacobs, what's the difference in getting the flu shot versus the pneumonia shot? I normally get the flu shot. Well, flu is caused by the influenza virus, which literally mutates and changes on a yearly basis. So every time it comes, it's a different virus, and they don't know which one is coming. Unfortunately, the way that the flu vaccines worked up until now is that they would have to make a best guess as to which flu would be coming, and they try to match it as close as they could. And oftentimes they would come very close or match it perfectly, but oftentimes they would miss it. And so you would have a flu vaccine that had 50% efficacy or less. And this was considered a success. And now we have these coronavirus vaccines that are 90+% efficacious, and people are questioning them. It is amazing. But the pneumonia is a bacterial disease that infects the lungs, oftentimes one side, which is called a single pneumonia, I guess. And then if it affects both lungs, that's the double pneumonia. So that is a bacterial infection. The flu is a viral infection. And so there are vaccines that you can take for the pneumonia shot now that will block and protect you against various variants of pneumonia, because there are multiple types of bacteria that cause pneumonia. So you can get a pneumonia shot. That was at one point a one-time shot. Now they're asking you to get 2 of them at least. And starting about age 50, it was 60, 65, and they lowered it. And that's not unreasonable because a lot of people are benefit from getting the pneumonia shots at that age. Flu shots age 6 months and above every year. Age 6 months and above, and it's time to get your flu shot now. We are in the beginning of the flu season. It's going to really be bad within the next couple of weeks. They are saying, meaning some of the professionals in the community are saying that you can get the coronavirus vaccine and the flu vaccine at the same time. Dr. Collier just does not recommend that because we don't want to have any issues with either one. One, we want to get maximum protection from getting the vaccine, and we don't need your immune system trying to generate 2 different classes of antibodies at the same time. You can't do 2 things well, just like you can. You focus on one thing, you do that well, then you do the other thing. So I would get one of the shots, and right now my preference would be the flu shot, then get the coronavirus vaccine within 2 weeks after that. Now, if you have already been immunized and you are waiting for your second shot, then you can get the flu shot now when you're halfway between, because the Pfizer is 21 days out and the Moderna is 28 days, so 3 or 4 weeks out. So at the second week, you can get the flu shot if you like. But if you are a naive, have not had either, then my pecking order would be get the flu shot now and then get the coronavirus vaccine within 2 weeks. Okay, next question. What can I take to keep my metabolism and energy up? Arnita, you are a wonderful person, and the things that we have on the LipoDrops website, we have the LipoDrops Maximum Formulation, which boosts your metabolism, helps your body metabolize foods and not convert those foods to fat. We have a product called Keto Max, which puts your body in a state of ketosis. Everybody is aware of the keto diet. Very, very effective. Everybody, when they first presented the keto diet, all the health professionals, including myself, were saying, how can you lose weight on a diet where you're allowed to eat bacon and meat and all of it and lots of it, and you would lose weight? Well, the basic philosophy of the keto diet is that it takes more calories to digest and metabolize the food that you're eating than there are calories in the food that you're eating. It's a simple scientific principle that actually pans out and is a truism. So you eat those things, you lose weight. The problem is when you go into a true state of ketosis, it's an acidic situation where your blood, your body fluids, your saliva, your breath, everything is acidic. And when it's acidic, it does not smell good. So you have very foul breath. Your body fluids, when you perspire or sweat, is foul, and all of your body fluids in your private areas are foul. So we call that keto crotch. So to get the benefit of ketosis without having to go to a full ketotic state, then we created the Keto Max preparation, which has ketones in it and gives you the benefits of a keto diet. So that will boost your immune system and get your energy up. But go to the website, lifewayjobs.com, look at each product, and then it takes a survey and asks you questions about where you are, what you want to lose, how quickly you want to lose it, etc. And it will help you design a product and a program that's unique to you that will help you accomplish quicker what you're trying to do and more long lasting what you're trying to do. Everybody wants to lose weight. They want to lose it yesterday. They want to lose as much as possible, as quickly as possible. But to do that, you want to make sure that you're losing the right type of weight. All right, great question, Anita. Shantae Jackson. Okay, I'm on my second bottle of LipoDrops and I'm gaining weight. Do the drops affect my hormones? What do you think is happening? One, I want to make sure that you're taking it appropriately because I've had people not do that. I've literally not observed anyone gaining weight on the product. So something else is going on as far as diet is concerned, or possibly metabolism. And I'm looking at this picture of you over here, and if that is indeed a real picture, you don't have any weight to gain. I don't see any, but we are going to say, make sure that when you take the LipoDrops, you place it under your tongue. That's called sublingual application. You hold it under your tongue for 2 minutes. It is absorbed under your tongue as effectively as if you had gotten an injection of the medication called LipoVite. That is exactly what's in the LipoDrops. You hold it under your tongue for 2 minutes, then you can swallow it. Nothing in the parts in your stomach doesn't do you any good. It's just there in a way to dispose of. You could literally spit it out instead of swallowing it if you wanted to, as long as you've held it under your tongue for 2 minutes. Now, to increase and make your weight loss more dramatic, when you get the LipoDrops, it says do it basically once or twice a day. You can do it before every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that will help enhance your weight loss as well. So again, make sure that you're taking it, and follow the diet program. particularly in your case, I want you to do the intermittent fasting. We offer two types of dieting plans. We have the eat 5 meals a day by eat a lot of protein diet plan. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, a snack between breakfast and lunch, a snack between lunch and dinner. That way you're eating basically 5 times per day, so you're never hungry. Your body never recognizes a hunger state, so it doesn't store food as fat. It allows you those calories to pass through you, basically. That's one way of altering your metabolism. The other way is to do intermittent fasting. That means that you eat all the food that you're going to eat within an 8-hour period during the day, preferably the same 8-hour period, but it doesn't have to be. But ideally, you want to try to get into a culture of, I eat everything I'm going to eat between 10 and 6 p.m., 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., or 8 and 4, or 12 and 8. I would not recommend eating much within 3 hours of going to bed. So most people that, particularly those that work traditional 9-to-5 jobs, they go home, they go to sleep, or they go and we're eating later and later. We're eating more at night because we're watching television, Netflix and chilling, or watching the games or whatever. And so we're eating usually more than we normally would eat because we don't have the traditional signals that tell us that we're full, because we're distracted by the entertainment, the game that we're on, the Law and Order episode that we're watching, etc. So best not to eat in front of the television, or if you do, make sure that you limit your portions. Best not to eat within 3 hours of lying down, going to bed, because if you do that, you're not going to metabolize that food at all. It's going to be stored as fat, and that is the biggest problem that we have now. We're eating later and later, and we're going to bed and sleeping on those calories, and that's how we end up gaining just 1 or 2 pounds a month. But then after 5 months, it's 10, 15 pounds. After a year, it may be 20 pounds or more. And so it's a slow, progressive weight gain that continues over time. And before you know it, 2-3 years down the road, now you're 50 pounds overweight. So that's how that happens. So thank you, Shanta. We hope that works out for you. If not, add another product such as the probiotics. Very, very effective in GI health. Okay, next question. Anton, good evening, Anton. Okay, any recommendations on antidepressant won't cause weight gain? Yes, there are several. A lot of the newer ones in particular are there because there are two things that antidepressants can do: sexual side effects, i.e., they can affect your ability to get an erection, or they can affect your ability to ejaculate. And that's, I don't know which case is worse: not being able to get an erection, or getting an erection just fine, but not being able to close the act. And I'm talking about going for an extended period of time, sometimes hours, and just not being able to ejaculate. And so that makes it no fun for you. It's no fun for your partner. They are sore, tired, losing interest, etc. So a new class of drugs have been developed that addresses that. But some of the most effective, and particularly the generic versions of things like Zoloft, Prozac, Wellbutrin, etc., can be associated with weight gain. So it's important that you get some. There's a medication called Effexor, which is very good. Paxil usually does not cause a weight gain. Both of those products are now inexpensive and or generic, and so you should not have any trouble accessing them. But in consultation with your primary care provider or psychologist or psychiatrist, let them know that you do not want to gain weight on this product. You do want to feel better, and so they'll make a choice, hopefully, and you'll make a choice together that will give you that objective. Because I have people that are depressed and they're doing fine on the medication, then they gain 30 pounds and now they're depressed because they gained the weight. So that is a side effect that does not have to be tolerated. You do not have to tolerate that, because there are options that won't do that. And so good luck, Antoine. We hope you feel better. Tabitha Miles, if you got J&J, should get the J&J booster sticking with the same or either of the others, or which one? Well, if you got the J&J, this is the thing. They're saying again, all of the vaccines work better if you get a booster with the Moderna. That is a scientific truism, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But if you want to dance with the one that brung you, and you had the J&J with no problems, you will get benefit by getting a second J&J booster. But I think the numbers are, if you get a J&J booster, you're going to increase your immune response by 4% to 17%. But if you get a dose of the Moderna on top of the J&J, you're going to increase your immune response by 77%. So that is a dramatic differential in doing so. So a personal choice. You can get the J&J, and again, dancing with the one that brung you. If you had no problems with it, okay. But if you're a woman of childbearing age in particular, that was one of the caveats that I had, that I would not recommend getting the J&J, particularly for that age group. So, and that means usually 45 to 50, between 16, 45 to 50, something like that. So use your personal discretion. But again, adding a Moderna booster to any of the previous vaccines gives you the best immune response. But the CDC and the FDA are not necessarily recommending changing. They're just saying you could now. So that is a lot of scientific gobbledygook. That means take the Moderna. Okay, Tabitha, great question. Okay. Marlene, thank you so much. I just got over strep throat and influenza A. Is there something going around? Yes, strep throat and influenza A. Both of them are going around right now. And I've had that in my office. I test people when they come in for those three things: strep throat, influenza A and B, as well as coronavirus. And I've not had any mixed coronavirus infections with anything else, but I have had strep throat and influenza A and B. So those two things, one is a bacteria, one is a virus. Once you are immune compromised by one and your throat is inflamed, it is susceptible to infection with other things. So it is going around. And so the great thing about strep throat is it responds very quickly to antibiotic therapy. Sometimes a single dose or a single injection will beat the strep throat. You don't have to get a shot. You can take pills, and that will usually eradicate it as well. The influenza, there's a product that you can take that you take one capsule twice daily for 5 days. That shortens the duration of the flu, makes you feel better much quicker, but you have to take it within 48 hours of the onset of the disease state. Oftentimes, we have not figured it out in the first 2 days. We wait, see if we're not better, then we go to the doctor or the urgent care. Sometimes they don't even test you for it, but when they do, it comes back positive. But now you 5 to 7 days in. You're halfway through the process regardless, and you're going to get better regardless the vast majority of the time. So treat your symptoms. Take Dr. Collier's Lipo Immune product. That's going to boost your immune system and give you your best chance at not getting these infections. And again, a serum level of vitamin D. Vitamin D, the normal range is 30 to 90 milligrams. At 40 milligram dosing, it protects you from bacterial infections, fungal infections, and viral infections. At 60 or higher, it protects you from cancers such as colon cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer for women. Vitamin D, a very easy and elegant way to boost your immune system and maintain good health. So get your vitamin D in. The daily dose will be 5,000 international units per day. The earlier recommendations were 3 to 500 of vitamin D. That's a total and complete waste of time. But they found out that a therapeutic dose is what protects you, and a therapeutic dose being 5,000 international units per day of the vitamin D. So feel better, Marlene. Start taking those two products so you don't get either of them, because you can catch either of them over again. Strep throat can recur. It can be something you can catch it, get over it, take the antibiotics, you can catch it again the next day. Oftentimes people do. Why? Because they get recontaminated from their old toothbrush. You should throw your old toothbrush away and get a new one, or they pass it inadvertently to their partner. So it's a kissing disease. So you got treated, your partner's carrying it. They're not really symptomatic. They didn't get treated. So as soon as your antibiotic wears out, you get reinfected again. So if you have an intimate partner, husband, significant other, and you have strep throat, I'd recommend that they get checked and or treated for it as well, just to make sure you're not passing it back and forth. When you get diagnosed, get a new toothbrush. Use that new toothbrush until you're off the antibiotics, then throw that one away and get another toothbrush. Just go to the dollar store and get 3 for $1, and so you can turn them over quickly. But recontamination through toothbrushes is one of the number one ways that people keep giving themselves recurrent strep infections. All right, great question. Let me get some more water. Catherine Martina Page Daniels, what a great name. If I'm doing a keto diet and IV, what are the best mix of your vitamins? Okay, I'm presuming IF is in vitro fertilization, and the keto diet as well. Then I would add probiotics, and you can add the lipo drops as well to that, and that will optimize / maximize your weight loss. Because IV in vitro fertilization, because of the hormone changes, can make you gain weight. And so you want to be careful about that. At minimum, you want to maintain your weight. At maximum, you want to lose while still making a better environment for a viable pregnancy. So great question, Catherine. So add the LipoDrops Max or the LipoDrops with African Mango. And then also I would add probiotics to optimize my GI function. And that will help you to lose weight. Okay. I've had a SIPS procedure done and lost a lot of weight. I've started to gain weight. Can I still use the LipoDrops? Absolutely. LipoDrops are, once again, you can put LipoDrops with virtually any prescription medication, any disease state. The LipoDrops contains amino acids and things that help you metabolize food and not convert food to fat. So no downside. There's usually no medication that it's not compatible with. So that will help you to stop your weight gain. And PCOS is a condition that predisposes you. That's polycystic ovary syndrome that predisposes you to weight gain. It also predisposes you to hirsutism. That's a facial hair, particularly mustaches and chin hair for women. And then abdominal fat, increased abdominal fat. So that can be controlled and should be controlled. There are ways to treat PCOS. And so make sure that it is actively being treated. Some doctors don't know how to treat it or just say, oh, it's just polycystic ovary syndrome. You don't need treatment. You do need treatment. It can be treated and treated very effectively. The number one therapy, of course, is a medication called metformin, which is actually a diabetes medication. It's the number one diabetes medication in the world. But because of the changes that it makes as far as your body's metabolism is concerned, it helps with polycystic ovary syndrome. And so the one, if you're not on it, you should be on it. Two, if you are on it, you need to be on a therapeutic dose. Some people are getting treated minimally by taking only, it comes in 500 and 1,000 milligram tablets. And the dose you need to be on is at minimum 1,000 milligrams a day. You could take 2,000, 1,000 in the morning with your breakfast, 1,000 eating with your dinner. That's the ideal dosing, but you need to work the dose out with your primary care provider, your OBGYN, or your metabolic specialist. But PCOS is one of those diseases very prevalent and it's not treated adequately. It's not diagnosed adequately. And a lot of doctors, again, they just don't want to be bothered with it because they don't really know how to treat it. You can also supplement your treatment with some thyroid. Again, the nature thyroid was very good in keeping your weight down when you have polycystic ovary syndrome. So great question, Ayla. Steve Harris, what destroys mucus in the body? There's nothing that destroys mucus. There are things that can make mucus, like Mucinex is a mucolytic. It makes thick mucus thin and watery. And that way you can cough it up, blow it out, or your body can reabsorb it. There are some drying agents, but you don't really want to use those if you can help it because they'll make your saliva dry. They'll make you, if you get mucus dried out, basically when you blow your nose and chunks comes out, that's dried mucus. And that can cause plugs and cause a variety of things and compromise your immune function, compromise your breathing ability because you'll get these plugs inside your lungs and you can't move air. So so you don't want to destroy the mucus. You want to break it up and make it thin and easy to expel. And so that's where a product like Mucinex comes in, and it's the perfect product for that. You just have to take a therapeutic dose. The ideal dose of Mucinex is at least 1,200 milligrams, 1,200 milligrams twice daily. So you can now buy Mucinex maximum strength over the counter. It comes in plain Mucinex. It comes in Mucinex DM, which has a decongestant mucolytic in it, and it helps with cough. That's dextromethorphan. And then it's Mucinex D, which is available over the counter, but behind the counter. You have to ask for it because the decongestant can be used for some nefarious purposes. But it helps. That will help dry up mucus, but not Steve. The destroyed mucus. That's kill, cuss, destroy, kill, destroy. We don't want to do that if we could help it. But the Mucinex D is behind the counter. They're going to ask you for your driver's license. That is a routine thing. It is nothing unique to you. It is not because you look funny or they are checking you out or over scrutinizing you. They're required to ask for a driver's license when they dispense that medication. So that's why I tell people, use a friendly family style pharmacist where the people in there will know you and you know them, and they know your name and they know your disease state, and they can help you much more efficiently and effectively than one of these chain pharmacies where they don't know you just a number and they're trying to get through the day. And oftentimes these pharmacists are dealing with 5,000 prescriptions per day. And so they just don't have the time to get to know your case specifically. They're just trying to get your prescription filled and get you out of there and move on to the next person. So a family pharmacy, I think, where you can have more unique and sensitive dealings with the pharmacist is what I recommend. And every community has them. So find one that you can work with to do that. Thank you, Steve. We appreciate you, sir. Can he make probiotics less effective? I have a probiotic powder that I put in my coffee and was wondering if it works. That usually can destabilize a probiotic. You can put it in cold usually, but heat can sometimes destabilize it. And I wouldn't necessarily use a powder because it depends on how a powder is stored. It starts to denature almost immediately as soon as a powder is opened or a container is open that has powder in it. And so ideally you would want a capsule or something that is stable at room temperature and that you can just take. And it's also, instead of having to mix it, you can take, probiotic capsules with a glass of water and then wait a few minutes and drink your coffee and you should be fine. That should not be a problem then. But so putting a probiotic powder in your coffee is not something I would recommend. You may have a special preparation that says it's okay for coffee. I'm unaware of one, but they may exist. But I just say it's just too easy to get a probiotic. Our probiotic product, again, it's stable at room temperature. You can take 2 or 3 capsules at one time. You can take one throughout the day, 3 times per day to optimize your immune system function. But probiotics are really God's gift to the human being because they do so many great things. If you have problems with allergies, if you have itchy skin, if you have eczema, if you have runny nose, a scratchy throat, etc., probiotics will help with all of that. If you have food allergies, that condition is called leaky gut syndrome. So if you have food allergies, you can help repair the leaky gut by taking a product like probiotics. A good probiotic has to have multiple cultures in it. Probiotics are nothing but good bacteria. So you want to have a product that has more than one bacteria in it, preferably a minimum of 3. Up to ours has 7. And the unit that measures called colony forming units, or CFUs. And you want that colony forming unit to be in the B for billions, not M for millions. So you have to have multiple cultures at a quality and at an amount that gives you a therapeutic dose. That means billions. So you want to get that. So any product that meets that criteria, it should be a good product. There are liquid probiotics that have to be refrigerated. That's a whole lot of trouble to go through. They're sometimes not as palatable. They don't taste as good. They don't smell as good. So, you can get a product that's been denatured, so to speak, like our product, and it really gives you all the benefits of probiotic therapy. You also understand there are natural probiotics. Greek style yogurt are natural probiotics. You can eat a cup of fresh yogurt every day and you're getting the same benefit with no problem. So you can eat your yogurt and drink your coffee with it and you're getting the benefit of the probiotics. Thank you, Austin. Chase, I love that. That's a great question. What's the difference between vitamin D3 and D2? Why can't we buy D2? You can buy D2. D2 is available, but it is inactive vitamin D. The active formulation is D3. Your body has to take in D2 and go through a metabolic process and convert the D2 to vitamin D3, which is the active vitamin D, which is what gives you the benefit. Some people do that very well. Some people, particularly those that get an adequate amount of sun exposure, convert D2 to D3 with little or no hassle. There's a significant portion of the population that does not do that well, and there's some people that don't do it at all. So bypass the middleman. The recommendation is now that you get vitamin D3. Although there are actually some insurance products that will pay for D2 and will not pay for D3. That is just dumb. I don't know why that is the case, but there are some that will do it, particularly some of the government-run programs. So if the only product they will cover is D2, then get D2. If not, get a D3 product. The prescription strength is 50,000 international units, usually dosed on a 1 tablet, 1 time per week basis. When Dr. Collier had vitamin D deficiency, I would take my vitamin D on Mondays. Just pick any day of the week that works for you and the one that you will remember and take it once a week. Then once your numbers are between 30 and 90, preferably between 60 and 90, to maintain, you can take the product like the Doctor's D, which has 5,000 international units on a daily basis to maintain a very good vitamin D level, which boosts your immune system and helps protect you from at least 15 identified cancers that are out there. So, vitamin D, a very natural and elegant way to boost your immune system function and to help your body protect itself from various types of cancers. All right, great question, Austin. Okay, little Mama Carla, could having clogged ears be a result of having COVID a month before? They say I have fluid in my ears and may need tubes. Absolutely, because the inflammation in the back of your throat can close the eustachian tubes. The middle ear is nothing but a plumbing system that creates a fluid. The purpose of that fluid is to lubricate the 3 bones of hearing that are in the middle ear. They are, if you can remember 3rd grade anatomy, the incus, the malleus, and the stapes, the hammer, the chisel, and the mallet. The hammer, the chisel, and the anvil, rather. The hammer, the chisel, and the anvil. Those 3 bones are intimately connected, and they vibrate. They vibrate, which is the hearing mechanism. Well, the action of vibration would cause the bones to wear themselves out if they were not lubricated. It's like a car engine with no oil in it. The engine will seize. So your body makes this fluid that lubricates those bones so they can vibrate freely, clearly, with no problem. That fluid coats the bones and then drains down the eustachian tube, which is in the back of your throat, which goes to the back of your throat and then drains down to your stomach. You're never aware of any of this. One of the reasons that babies have so many ear infections is because their eustachian tubes are still at an angle that is 90 degrees to the ear. When you're an adult, the eustachian tube comes down and it's, about a 45-degree angle, so it drains very well and very easily when it's doing so. So it's about this angle as an adult. Actually, it's coming the other way. And as a child, though, it's straight across. So a child lays down with a milk bottle, they're guaranteed to get an ear infection. It's going to happen almost every time. But with an adult, they should drain. But if you get something like swelling in the back of the throat that blocks the ear canal, that fluid is continuously being manufactured. That fluid is sterile. If it sits there long enough, it can become infected. It doesn't have to become infected to cause pain. Just because it's building up and backing up, it puts pressure on the eardrum. So that is called a serous. That's not serious. It's serous, serous otitis media. If it's infected, then it becomes an inflammatory otitis media. Or middle ear infection. So if that cannot effectively drain, and I would take a course of antibiotics for a minimum of 2 weeks, along with a nasal spray such as Flonase or nasal Cort, that will give you your best shot at healing. And you might even want to take a steroid like dexamethasone. Before I had surgery to put tubes in my ears, I would try that. That is a conservative way of accomplishing that objective. When you do that, you should get great benefit. You just may have to do it on occasion regularly. I tell people, don't stop taking medication as soon as your ears open up. They will pop. Just like when you're going in water, you're going down, or you're going up in an elevator, and your ears get a bubble in them and they pop. So have an extended period of normality. I would take the medication, particularly a decongestant, for at least 2 weeks after symptoms have resolved. And then if that doesn't do it, you might ultimately end up having to have tubes in the ear. Tubes in the ears are a official therapeutic treatment for chronic serous otitis media. So I'm not saying you might not ultimately end up doing that, but if this has not been a problem with you for an extended period of time, just after having COVID, then you might be able to treat it more conservatively. Surgery is always your final option. But when you go to a surgeon, they offer you surgery because it's what they do. That's how they fix things. Just a primary care doctor, family physician internist can probably treat you for this. And then if it doesn't resolve, an ENT can offer you the surgical treatment intervention, which would be the T-tubes, or tympanostomy tubes is what it's called. They literally punch a hole in your eardrum, put the tube in there. And so instead of it draining backwards down your eustachian tube, it drains forward, and you may see fluid coming out of your ears. When that happens, you're restricted. You have to be very careful when you're washing your hair that you don't get water in your ears. You can't go swimming, can't put your head underwater. There are a lot of things you can't do when you get those tubes in place. Those tubes will come out spontaneously over time. They usually last from 6 months to a year, and then it would just pop out. Your eardrum will heal itself. Sometimes your eardrum doesn't heal itself, and it heals open and keeps a permanent hole in it. And sometimes they have to go back in there and patch that hole. So there are consequences to having tympanostomy tubes placed. All right, Mama. Thank you so much. Okay. Ivory Tyrone. Very good. I take your immune pack. Very good. You are covered. I also take Lipo Drops Max. That's for the weight loss. Can I take sea moss also? Sea moss is an excellent immune system booster. I personally don't think you can have too many things that are boosting your immune system. But the great thing about the Lipo Immune is this. and the immune pack is 3 different products, is that you have coverage for a variety of different things. When the coronavirus pandemic first came out, Dr. Collier was recommending omega-3 fish oil, vitamin D, zinc, and elderberry extract. And so if you're taking that, plus you're taking 1 or 2 of the weight loss products, plus you're taking any traditional type of medication, or just taking vitamins, etc., that is a significant and substantial pill burden. I found that it's hard to take that many pills every day. So the thing that we did next was come up with the lipoimmune, which combined 3 things in 1 pill, cuts down on your pill burden in an amazing way. But also with the immune pack, you're getting the omega-3 fish oil and the probiotics. So that pretty much gives you optimal immune health. You can take sea moss as well. It's the answer to your question. I think it does have an additive effect, and I don't think you can take too many things to help boost your immune system. Great question, Ivory. Okay, Nayla Austin. How do you know if your child has outgrown asthma? 1, you don't outgrow asthma. Your symptomatology may improve, but you don't outgrow it. If you have a history of, quote, childhood asthma, and you get a bronchitis or an infection or inflammation of your lung airways, you can have an asthma attack. A lot of people do grow out of the symptomatology being so dramatic, and they may go for an extended periods of time of not having asthma symptoms and then not having regular coughing, wheezing episodes. But if they get sick, they can go into a full-blown asthma attack. So you have to stay on top of that using either maintenance inhalers or rescue inhalers. I would always tell a person with a history of asthma, keep a rescue inhaler available. That will be your Proventil, your Ventolin, etc. That's the one that you see in commercials, people grabbing quickly and puffing 2 times, and that gives you immediate relief and opens up your airways. And don't let it be years and years old in your purse or in your car dashboard or something like that. After a period of time, I would replace it and keep a fresh one readily available, because you never know when you can have an asthma attack. So so not outgrowing, that's not a good terminology. Let's just say hopefully as they get older, their symptoms will improve. And tell them never, ever, ever start smoking cigarettes, never vape, and never do hookahs. And then they should not have any more problems with their asthma. But I would also do allergy testing on them if possible. There's a blood allergy test that only takes 1 drop of blood that can answer a whole lot of questions about things you may not be aware of that you're allergic to, particularly things like cats and dogs, things like various foods. Dr. Collier did food allergy testing on himself, and I was really shocked and surprised the number of foods that I was actually allergic to, particularly with the history of eczema and itchy eyes, scratchy throat, all those sorts of things. You avoid those food allergens, and all of a sudden that goes away, and you don't have inflammation in your gut, and you lose weight, and your stomach goes down. So it is amazing that information that you gather from allergy food testing. And again, it's a very simple and elegant test that answers that question. Okay. Shanika Banks, what is the best way to treat COVID anxiety other than prescription medications? COVID anxiety, again, stress and worry about either getting it or having it and worried about dying from it, or worried about, it's a stressful event. So COVID anxiety proper, not caused by the disease, that it doesn't make you anxious. The idea of having it, the idea of getting sick from it, the idea of being off of work, the idea of being, losing a family member, etc. All of those things can create a problem, and you can get anxious about it. That's what anxiety is. So, the usual and customary breathing exercises, meditation, yoga, tai chi, all these things to help with anxiety. But let's not discount the benefit of prescription medications if your anxiety state is one that requires a prescription medication. The objective is to make you feel better, not necessarily make you feel good. There are feel-good medications out there. Those are the ones that I don't recommend because they can be addicting. They can make you happy. They can make you high. So our objective is not to do that. Our objective is to just take away the anxiety. So I say with those classes of drugs, they don't make you feel good. They just stop you from feeling badly. And there are many products out there that are safe. You can take every day. You can stop anytime you like with no withdrawal. So no problems. You need to consult with your primary care physician or a mental health professional to find out how to treat that. So great question, Shanika. That might be one of the best questions I've ever had on that topic. So what's the best probiotic? The lipobiotic products that we have are good, but they're not the only products that are out there. So the criteria is with a probiotic that it has more than one culture, preferably a minimum of 3. Our product again has 7. Preferably, the amounts that are there of the cultures are in the B, as in billions of colony forming units or CFUs versus millions. Because you'll see one that has millions and you think, oh, that's a lot. No, that's not an effective dose. For bacteria, it has to be billions. And also one that's easy to carry around, easy to take. So all of those things, because they have probiotics in so many different formulations. They have liquids, they have gummies, they have, again, they have powders, they have tablets, they have capsules. So they have various products, some that have to be refrigerated, some that have to be treated in a certain particular way, some that have to be prepared. So I will get one that's very user friendly. Ours are capsules that you can take 1, 2, or 3 per day. You can take 3 together at one time. You can take I try to spread them out during the daytime to try to give my colon a balance of the bacteria. So I usually take one in the morning, take one after lunch, and take one again at night, sometime between dinner and bedtime, definitely before I go to bed at night. If I forget a dose during the day, I'll take 2 at night. I don't take 3 together. No particular reason why. It's just my personal preference. But, 2 in a single dose is a perfectly adequate dose for most people. So you can just take 2 at night before you go to bed and you should be fine. All right. Great question. D. Doyle. Should I continue to take those 5 bites you recommend on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show after I receive my booster? Yes, because D, the benefit is boosting your immune system to provide great immune health regardless of not just coronavirus. The booster is only going to protect you from the coronavirus, but we still have the flu. As one of the callers said earlier, she had strep throat and the flu at the same time. So you want to protect your body from all types of infectious diseases. And vitamin D is a simple and elegant way to do that. It protects you from bacterial infections, viral infections, and fungal infections. So if you cover by taking a product like the LipoImmune, the Doctor's D, the probiotics, you're going to be a super soldier and your body will be optimally and maximally immune protected. And your chances are you'll get through the wintertime while everybody else around you is coughing and hacking and had their usual cold. This happens to me every year, Dr. Collier. I hear that all the time. It's time for me to get sick. I get sick about this time every year. You don't have to do that. You just have settled into it and accept it as what happens to you. But if you boost your immune system and allow your body to put those soldiers on the front line to stop you from getting infections, can't stop you from exposure because you're constantly and continuously exposed on a daily basis, all day, every day. We've all been in a situation where somebody was near us and they were coughing uncontrollably, or somebody just happens to cough right in your face. They turn their head to the side, you're on the side, and you get the full brunt of it. So, it's just, you want to make sure that you're optimally protected. But if you're in an environment where exposure is an issue, you not only want to cover your nose and mouth with a mask, but you also want to cover your eyes with goggle-style glasses that have a side that come around the side so that there's no gap and bacteria and viruses and things that people cough on you can't get into your eyes. If someone coughs directly into your eyes, you blink twice, you have just sent that bacteria or that virus down your tear ducts, which are located here, directly into your sinuses. Is the best deposit they could possibly get to make you sick. So your eyes they have receptors on the surface, particularly for the coronavirus, that will allow that to happen. So be very, very careful about, I see people that are very meticulous about keeping their nose and their mouth covered, but they're not meticulous about keeping their eyes covered. Even if you wear glasses, the traditional frame on glasses has a large gap on both sides, and so bacteria and things can get around them. But these goggle style protective glasses here that don't magnify, they just protect your eyes. They're available for less than $2 at any hardware store. So they're readily available. You can buy them in packs of like 10. Trisha M.O.B., would you recommend taking CBD oil for joint or muscle ache stiffness? If so, what brand? I highly recommend CBD oil for so many different things. Anxiety. That's one of the things for the COVID anxiety. CBD oil would be perfect for that. For joint pain, inflammation, for insomnia, I can't sleep, you take CBD oil. So what's important about CBD oil is the concentration, it's the dose that you take. You want to make sure that you're getting a product that has been purified so it doesn't have any THC in it. THC is the component of marijuana that makes you happy and high and impacts you in a negative way. So and it also would make you fail a drug screen if your job requires you to get drug testing on occasion. So you want a CBD oil product that has had all of the THC removed, because you don't need the THC to get the benefit. The THC, a lot of people do like, because it does make them feel happy and about whatever. It does calm them down, etc. But you don't need that to get the benefit of the CBD oil. CBD and the neurocannabinoid system in your body, which has only been recently identified and discovered as to why CBD oil works so well for a variety of different things. But it is great for those things that you mentioned and then some. So it's not brand that I recommend, it's quality that I recommend. And again, make sure that it meets that criteria. And it can come in doses, the concentration as little as 250 milligrams, as much as 2,000 milligrams. So how much of it you take, you treat till symptoms are relieved. And so there's no one dose that you take. It varies tremendously, and it has to be. So you need to deal with someone that knows about CBD oil, that can give you the right advice about CBD oil and educate you as to what, when, and where. Not just give you a bottle and say, take this, and you don't know whether to take a dropper full, a half a dropper full. You take it once a day, twice a day. You take it in the morning. You take it at night. All of these things are very important to get the optimal benefit from the CBD oil. But I endorse its use. I provide it to my patients, and I think that it is a great option, particularly versus some of the prescription medications that can be addicting. Okay, Lynetta Ing, do you lose sense of smell as you age? Yeah, unfortunately, one of the things that can happen as you age, you can lose sense of smell and taste. It's not what I would call a normal phenomenon. It doesn't have to, a lot of these things aren't normal. It's pathological, but it does happen. And it happens a lot of people as they get up. As a matter of fact, it probably is happening to you right now. I know there are things that when I was a child, I could not tolerate it. Even when I put them, like spinach, I put it in my mouth and it literally made me gag. And now I like spinach. Well, I won't go that far. Let's just say I can eat it and tolerate it, and it doesn't cause that response. And I really think that it tastes differently, and that my reaction to it is not what it was when I was a younger person, particularly childhood, when everything was just, dramatically, your taste buds just tasted everything so well. So I do think that over time, just from the fact of brushing your tongue, you're losing taste buds on a daily basis. So that phenomenon, as we age, all the nerves in our body will start to function less effectively, and the sense of smell is from the olfactory nerves. And so you want to maintain and optimize your neural health. Vitamin D is one of the things that will do that. Omega-3 fish oil will help with nerve health as well. Vitamin C is very good for nerve health. It protects what's called the neural sheath, which is a covering that wraps around nerves, that's kind of like saran wrap, and it protects the nerves from damage and inflammation and a variety of other things. And certain disease processes, it removes that saran wrap. That's called demyelinization. Demyelinization illnesses like MS, some types of Alzheimer's disease, etc. If we could figure out how to stop that from happening, there are major drug companies looking right now for something to treat demyelinating disease states, and so we can stop that. But again, maintaining your optimal health, vitamin D, vitamin C, omega-3 fish oil will help with that. Great question, Lynetta. I appreciate you asking it. Tashara Island, how long does it take for vitamins to really get into your system? A few days, a week? Immediately, your body, there's no lag time. You get the benefit of a vitamin the day that you take it. Now, if you're checking levels, because your body does not store vitamins, it gets to what it needs, and the rest is eliminated in urine and feces. So that's with all vitamins. The fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins A, D, E, and K, will stay in your body longer because they're absorbed by fat. But the others are water-soluble. They literally, once you attain a certain level, your body gets what it needs. It comes out in urine and feces. So you get benefit immediately. If you have a deep deficit, let's talk about vitamin D in particular, one of the fat soluble vitamins. When you do that, it's going to build up in the body, and you want to get that level up, which is measured between 30 and 90. You want to get it between 6. So we have a therapeutic level. So that's where we are with your vitamins. So the answer to your question is, you get benefit from day one. Depending upon what your deficit level is, it may build up over time. If you're measuring units, most of the other vitamins we don't necessarily check. We do check vitamin B levels sometimes. You can check vitamin C levels, but all the others, we just really, there's no reason to scientifically check them in your blood. Just take it, and take a complete multiple vitamin with iron and minerals. There's no such entity as a generic vitamin. So you want to make sure that you're getting a vitamin that meets that criteria. I don't care what the name brand is. I don't care if it says on there on the label, a complete multiple vitamin with iron and minerals. A vitamin is a fixed chemical formula. You can't make it any better. You can only make it in a prettier package and get a celebrity endorsement. So get the least expensive vitamin product that you can get that meets that criteria, and you will optimize your health. Okay, so we have run out of time. Antonio's let me know that we've been at it, and I hope that you enjoyed this session tonight. I hope we got to most of your questions. If not, join the Facebook group, and we will try to answer questions next time and or in real time. So thank you so much for joining. This is Dr. MJ Collier, Atlanta's own hip hop doc, live with Facebook. Listen to me on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. I'll be on next on Friday morning. Thank you so much.